Hello and welcome to another episode of the Art Block with Ant and Derek. I'm Derek and I'm with
Johnny Neptune.
Yes, Johnny Neptune. He's going to draw something for us while I'll go into discussion with Ant. So, go ahead.
You know,
Have no fear. Martians will not be attacking the art block. How you doing, Derek?
I'm doing okay.
All right, buddy.
Yes.
So let's get right into our topic.
Okay.
Album cover art.
All right.
I think that's a lost art. Well, it's almost a lost art. They still make albums, but
Unfortunately, you can't get.
love albums,
you
man.
can't get them on iTunes. You can't
Yeah.
download them on there, unfortunately.
let's get
Unless
right
you
into
get in
it.
special order, though.
That's true. I want to start with one of my favorite albums, period, musically and covers. Very simple. Never mind the bullets. Here's the Sex Pistols, 1977 classic. This album was basically, the design was done by Jamie Reed, and an album cover to me has to fit the band.
Right.
I mean, there has to be a connection between the music, the type of band they are, and I think this is a perfect example of that. It's got the whole sort of ransom note kind of kidnapping look to it, which fit that band. It's got the sort of tongue-in-cheek kind of anti-commercial thing to it, but yet at the same
Then
time, a very
anarchist
commercial
type,
look.
yeah.
Very commercial look. You know, it has the whole bright colors, which I'd read about the history of this album. These colors were used, these gaudy colors were used because of, it was sort of a takeoff of the old sales stickers they would put on the windows at the stores in London, in
Right.
England. The old, like, wow, 50% off, and it'd be these loud, gaudy colored stickers, and that's kind of where the idea for this came from. It was sort of poking fun at the commercialism, by being commercial. That's kind of the look behind this. It was a combination of just, we're a dangerous band, rock and roll band. We got the sort of kidnapped, ransom note look, but yet we're also blatantly making fun of commercialism while we're commercial because we're signed by Virgin Records.
Right.
Great album, though. Great album, great cover.
Okay.
What do you have? What's one of your favorite album covers?
Well, one of my favorite album covers, definitely the classic Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Right.
I love, if you ever get the CD version of it, it has the outline of all the characters and items on there. They have them numerized, whichever one is.
Edgar Allan
who's who.
Poe,
Edgar
I
Allan Poe.
remember, is on there, yeah. Karl Marx, I believe. Is it
Groucho
on there?
Marx, I think.
Groucho?
One of the
Yeah.
Marx brothers.
One of the Russians, Tolstoy, Marx, somebody. One of
Yes,
them. One of them's on there. Yeah, that's a great album cover too. Great album cover too. Another one I love is Blue Oyster Cult's live album, Some Enchanted Evening. I mean, I love that. Look at that artwork. I mean, the
Yes,
Grim
yes,
Reaper
yes.
on horseback. Don't fear the Reaper. Love that one. Not many people remember this band, Sig Sputnik. They were sort of a glam rock, sort of techno rock of the future kind of band, and the album cover was great though. It was very much like the Transformers.
Oh, okay.
Incredible artwork, I thought.
Great. What
And,
was during the 80s?
Yeah, this came out, I believe, in '87. This was basically a British Tommy James. Excuse me, not Tommy James. That's from the Shondells. Tony James was the bass player. Tony James was known for, he was in the seminal punk band Generation X with Billy Idol. Before Billy Idol went solo, he was later in Sisters of Mercy. Tony James was like this, sort of rock icon in England, and this was his way again, like the Sex Pistols, of kind of taking commercialism over the top. And this was all about your look and how you looked and how much makeup you could wear and how high your hair was. It was just overindulgence of rock and roll is what this was.
Okay.
What about you? What else you got?
There was another. I think the CD that I brought in from an earlier show, Eric B. and Rakim's
Oh, yeah.
Paid in
I
Full. That
remember
was a
right.
very good one because it had a picture of the dollar signs and stuff. And I
Right.
think that was like the very first time, a rap artist had like symbols of money as, show wealth because,
Right.
this is pre bling bling
Right,
time.
right.
That wouldn't be till like the 90s.
Right.
That was a very.
But that was probably the first example of it, huh?
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
curious. I wanted to look that up. This I just had to bring in because, and it's a good album, but this is Mr. Jack Palance's album.
Yes.
He put an album out way back in This is a great album.
Curly from City
Got
Slickers.
laughed
yes.
at a lot, but look, I love the look of it, man. That says Jack, right?
Yes.
Dark shadows, don't mess with me. I'll do one-handed push-ups, one-arm push-ups on you. Will, our director and producer, would appreciate this one. I had to bring this in for the comedy value. This came out, of course, right after the first Star Wars movie. And
Episode 4.
To me, right, and to me, it's like fortuitous of Lando Calrissian and Princess Leia boogieing and getting down on Cloud City. Mm-hmm. So it was a disco version of the Star Wars theme.
Yes,
which
by
is
Miko.
Great. Came out. You remember this?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I think I think I had a friend of mine who actually had that record. Matter of fact, they made another one. I wish I had it. They made another one of a disco version of The Empire Strikes Back, the Imperial March. Actually, there's another song made by Miko.
I believe it's on here. Yeah, it is on here.
Oh, it is. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But so now, since we're kind of getting into sort of the tongue-in-cheek and the sort of ridiculous ones, in a way, even though this is great, I'm not going to say this is ridiculous, but what comes to mind for you for an album cover that you never liked, or you thought was just downright hilarious, or didn't fit the artist? Does anything come to mind?
No, not really,
Really?
because basically they are, basically it just whatever you put in, that's pretty much your label. However, if there was an album cover that I wish I was able to design, it would have been African Bambaata's and Soul Sonic Force Planet Rock.
Right.
Because when I first bought that album, well, at least a 12-inch of that, I pictured basically kind of like Apollo 11, astronauts like have like Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins have them together, or some random astronauts,
Right.
Basically just break dancing on one of the craters of the moon, and then like have like the Soul Sonic Force, and then have the title of the album like Planet Rock and graffiti letters on, just tagged on a moon rock, and they're like, break dancing on a crater of the moon, and since the moon has 1/6 of the gravity of the Earth, I mean, you could do those windmills like nothing, just like a spinning fan. Just it would have been incredible, just incredible.
Another great album cover, Thunderball soundtrack. I mean, look at
Yes.
that. Isn't that great art?
Yeah,
That
Sean
was art.
Connery's.
Sean Connery.
That's
Thunderball.
007,
Love
yes.
it. Love it.
Yes.
Can't forget Kiss Alive too. Brings
Oh,
me back
yes.
to my youth. What made this cover so great to me was it opened up and you had that awesome picture. Look at those guys right there.
Well, yeah,
I mean, come on. Look at that stage show. The,
Yeah.
the cat drum riser. Can't
probably
beat
a
that.
pyrotechnics fantasy
Can't
right
beat
there.
that.
This-
Can't beat that. And then we go to a completely different genre of music, which this was my dad's album originally, but this is a great group, the Ink Spots.
The
I
Ink
don't know if
Spots,
everybody
oh,
remembers
yeah.
the Ink Spots. They were a great band. And this is a case to me where I wanted to bring this because this album's a case where it's simple, very simple, like the Sex Pistols album cover, but it says a lot about the group, and it basically sums up the group. I mean, it sums up their music. You got the rose, you got the ink pen with the jar of ink, and if anybody out there knows their kind of music, the Ink Spots, you would realize what I'm saying here. And if you don't know them, get their stuff.
oh yes.
Awesome group, awesome
Definitely.
group. I brought a Johnny Cash one. I've always loved this cover because it's when he performed at San Quentin, and what I
Oh,
love so
yes.
much about it is, he's performing in this proverbial hell, jail, prison, but they got like the nice halo over his head here. I love the lighting in that. I mean,
Oh, yes.
just the whole look. It's almost like Johnny, who himself was, of course,
Yes.
in and out of trouble.
Yeah.
You know,
The original
no
Man
sa-
in Black.
no saint,
Yes.
but I think that's just
Yes.
a brilliant design for a cover for that album. Johnny Cash at San Quentin. The lighting is perfect and all that. A couple more real quick before we go to commercial. Warren Zevon's Bad Luck Streak and Dancing School. I always thought that was a great album. Of course, Warren Zevon, if you know anything about him, he was very tongue-in-cheek. He always had a great sense of humor. You have him on the front with these lovely ladies, these ballerinas.
And check out the
Looking
back.
maybe a little in a little bit of a quandary. The women are obviously ignoring them. And then you go to the back cover, and there's a picture of an Uzi with ballerina shoes.
Yeah.
So make what you want of that, but I love
Yeah, I
just the
know.
humor in that. I just love the humor in that. So
Like very
you
few,
know.
yeah. You didn't see that many guns with, outside of James Bond
Right,
soundtracks. You didn't see
right.
too many album covers with guns in or people holding them until Boogie Down Productions, their very first album, Criminal Minded, where they had DJ Scott LaRock and KRS-One on there.
Was that the first though? Because what about Public Enemy's first album? was it the first or second where they had the table where they're
Oh,
all standing
Bill
around the
Marshall Show.
table?
Actually, they
there's
came out the same
guns?
year. They came out the same
because
year.
Public Enemy had the guns on that cover.
I
of their
think
album,
they
too.
were like the
Right.
first among,
Right.
and then like I think that's one was probably the most
Right.
remembered, at least in that same time year, was probably NWA Straight Outta Compton. That's which later they became known as the world's most dangerous group because of one of the songs on there.
But you're talking in the rap genre.
In the rap genre, yes.
Because long before that, other albums had them on, like you said, soundtracks. But we got to go to a commercial, and we'll be right back with our guest artist, Johnny Neptune. Welcome back to the Art Block with Ant and Derek, and we're here now with our guest, Mr. Johnny Neptune, artist. How you doing, Johnny?
Fantastic.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me out tonight.
No problem, but hey, show us what you just drew for us in the past like 11 or 12 minutes.
Well, I'll be honest with you, it's not the best picture I've ever done of Elvis, but I tried to do a little Elvis. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very
Wow.
much. I'm pretty proud of it, though. It's not the best one.
It's very nice.
It's not the worst one either.
Okay, tell our audience, you were telling me this a few days ago. Tell our audience, this is very interesting. Tell us your thing about Elvis, what you do. You do drawings with Elvis, and what have you done with some of those drawings?
I do Elvis portraits for celebrities.
Right.
The first one I ever did was when I was 13 for Jerry Lee Lewis. He started calling me in the middle of the morning.
Right.
I was a 13-year-old kid.
Right.
Had Jerry Lee Lewis calling me on the phone. He'd be slurring his words. And then after that, I said, if he liked it so much, I went all the way from Pink Floyd to Devo to Hank Williams Jr. to Mick Jagger, Paul McCartney,
Right.
to U2.
Right.
The list goes on and on.
Right.
Andy Kaufman, Jay Leno.
Right.
All of them were Elvis fans.
Right. Tell
All of them.
Tell the audience the story again about
Robert Goulet.
Robert Goulet. Tell them real quick. That's a funny story.
Everyone knows that Elvis shot out TV sets.
Right.
Bam, bam, bam. Most people don't know that he only shot out TV sets when Robert Goulet was on.
Right.
Robert Goulet is very well aware of this.
Right.
Elvis couldn't stand a man who's all style and no substance.
Right.
Elvis hated his guts. So do I. Anyway, Robert Goulet was coming into Atlanta years ago doing South Pacific,
Right.
starring Mr. Robert Goulet.
Right.
You know, bow tie and the
Right.
hair dye.
Right.
So anyway, I drew a picture for him, and it was Elvis in a hotel room with a gun. He's stumbling. He had a gun. There's smoke coming out, and there's a kind of a warped picture, and there's a bullet hole right in the glass.
Right.
And he looked at the perspective of the viewers. You're inside a TV set, and Elvis just shot a bullet at you.
Right.
When he saw it, he looked at it. And I thought, tick, tock, tick, tock. He went, "This is the greatest gift I've ever gotten in my life." What a schmuck. Told you I don't like that guy.
All right, Johnny. So now let's get into how long have you been doing art? Since 12, 13, all your life?
My whole life.
Whole life.
Well, all artists in my family.
Right. And tell the audience, you worked for a while with ZZ Top.
Yes, I
Or
did.
for ZZ Top.
Yes,
you
I
were
did.
what? Their art director?
Yes.
And when was this? Late 80s?
Yes, it was. Into
Around
the early
you
90s.
said around the Recycler period, the Greatest Hits album.
They
Right.
started me off taking press conferences for MTV and Entertainment Tonight. And I designed, instead of it being in a room, I'd take it and look like it's an auto graveyard. I'd come out and they'd have Disney build my props, my designs. They had all those people. I just designed it.
Right.
I had the album covers, tour books, stage design, video production,
Right.
and they're my friends.
Right. Right. And so what happened to that? I mean, why, if you don't mind me
Tragic story.
asking?
Tragic story.
Right.
Most people don't know the manager's wife. Bill Ham is their manager.
Right.
They were in Amsterdam. I was in Atlanta. Got a phone call that his wife had disappeared. The FBI got involved. They followed her credit card. When they found the car, they found her dead in the trunk. The guy was driving around.
Right.
And that was it. As you can understand, Bill
And it
Ham
crushed Bill Ham, of
Absolutely,
course. He
of
couldn't
course.
work anymore, right?
Well, he sold the contract from Warner Bros. To RCA. RCA put him into a cabinet for royalties, no longer to be an active act. You know, this picture is okay. What's wrong with it? Tell me what should be fixed.
I love it. I like it. What
Good guy.
do you think's wrong with it?
I think
Why are you doing that?
because that's mine, I own it, and you're not paying me for it, obviously. So I try. This is what I do for a living. This is what I am. I have no other choice.
Tell the audience.
That's what I do. I draw, and if I draw your grandmother or your grandkids, but if you don't pay for it, I get to rip it up. I'm a creator and a destroyer.
Right. So you've always felt that way.
Absolutely.
So what's the if I'm not prying too much, what's the most you've made off of a piece of art? Because you've done a lot. You've done murals. I know you've told me you've done murals around town in different clubs.
The most I ever got was 16,000
Right.
for one piece.
Right.
But the best I ever got was 10,000 for 10 minutes worth of work at the House of Blues.
In Atlanta.
Yeah,
The House of Atlanta?
she said, how much will you charge to draw basically a line drawing like that
Right.
of the Blues Brothers? She said, how much? I think 500, 600. I said, 10,000. She said, you're going to charge me 10,000 bucks. I said, yes, I am. She pulled out her checkbook, wrote $5,000 down payment. No questions asked. Boom, just do
Right.
it.
Right.
It looked great.
Right.
Took me about 15 minutes,
Really? Wow. Wow. What else have you?
maybe 20.
What else can you put your name to? I mean, that we might know, either around town in Atlanta. I know you live in Atlanta for a while.
Maybe some wanted posters or mugshots.
Right. No, but you were telling me seriously. There was something about. We have about 3 minutes left before a commercial, but there was something to do with. You had something to do with the art outside of Junkman's Daughter in Little 5 Points.
That's an interesting.
Isn't that
yes.
correct?
That is correct.
Any of you familiar with Little 5 Points in Atlanta? That's the Junkman's Daughter. That store. That
The
great
hip
store
clothing store. They sell
that
the
has
cool
like the big
clothes.
flying saucer jutting out from the wall
And the
Right.
wings.
Tell us about that.
It's a fantastic. Pam Majors, the
Right.
owner of the store,
Right.
is sweet as could be.
Right.
She and I are very close friends. She wanted me to develop a concept for the front of the store, which I did,
Right.
and that's it.
Yeah.
That was the one I got 16,000 for.
Right. Right. So what's in the future? I mean, have you been getting any other
To be honest with you,
art gigs lately?
I don't know. I don't know what's in the future for me. I think I'm going to start focusing on art for art's sake
Right.
instead of for money.
Right.
I think that's what I'm going to do.
That's something to seriously consider.
Absolutely.
Very much so. So you heard us earlier. We were talking about album covers. Mm-hmm. Offhand, any particular favorite album covers that you have that you remember, besides ones you might have designed?
My all-time favorite would be the cover of Abbey Road.
Abbey Road. Yeah.
I think that's one of the most iconoclastic album covers that there's ever been.
Right. Right.
Other than the White Album, maybe. You know.
Yeah, the White Album. which kind of goes along with AC/DC's Back in Black album.
Right on.
Right.
Right on.
You get it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, what are some ridiculous album covers? You got to have a lot of those. In
Probably
the back
my
of
next.
mind.
Probably the next one I do. I'm doing one for a friend of mine named Randy, who's an excellent musician and composer.
Right.
And he wants me to work on that, and it's going to be absurd. It's going to be really weird. It is.
Can you give us a little hint? What's it going to involve? What medium are you using?
I'm not even
what's
sure.
the subject matter?
Sand and some glue and a toothpick and some hair. I don't know. No, I'm going to draw.
very
I'm going to use paintbrushes.
Right.
Maybe a computer.
Right.
I'm kidding about sand and hair.
Right.
Of course. It's just going to be hair, no sand.
Okay, and also, you had a little musical career, didn't you, for a short time?
A little, yeah.
I've seen some of your videos on YouTube. Some of
Have
your
you?
kind of electro, kind of techno.
It's not my music. That's if people go there and look up Google or YouTube, say Johnny Neptune videos.
Right.
Johnny Neptune vids.
Right.
they see that and they think that, oh man, I'm trying to put this. That's like if you came in someone's house and they had a notepad with their ideas to jot down things to do,
Right.
or a plan, and you looked at it and said, this is not a finished building.
Right. Come on.
Of course it's not a finished building. It's a
Right.
notepad. That's what my music is.
Right.
It's an electronic sketch pad.
Right. Right.
So if you ever hear my music, and if you hate it, so do I.
Right,
We're in
right.
we're in the same club.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and take a commercial break.
That's a good idea.
And when we come back, we're going to have you in a contest against our contestant, Miss Vivian.
No one told me about
Hallmark.
this.
Yeah. Well, you'll learn more in a minute.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the Art Block with Aunt Derek here on Making TV WPGA.
What were you trying to get me into? Put me into a contest. You didn't tell me anything about that.
Return to Wellston with Solid Ground, the complete first season on DVD.
No way, that's awesome.
The 4-disc set includes all 12 episodes plus cast and crew interviews, behind-the-scenes featurettes, outtakes, and more.
Works for me.
That was easy. Let's get to watching.
Filmed in Middle Georgia, see what the Telegraph called a humorous take on the detective series. Own Solid Ground, the complete first season today.
Now we're back on the art block with our contestant Vivian. She's going to be competing against Johnny Neptune, who's in an undisclosed place of the stereo. He can't hear or see what we're going to have. And what do you do?
Well, my name is Vivian Hallmark, and I'm a retired teacher from the Bibb County school system. At this point, I'm working miscellaneous jobs here and there. Work at Macon Arts Alliance on Saturdays, and just enjoy Macon very much, being downtown, great places to go, things to do, people to meet. And I'd like to give a shout out to my friends at Roasted Cafe, one of our favorite spots downtown. And thank you for letting me be here with Anthony and Derek and the crew and Johnny Neptune as the guest today.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being our sponsors, Roasted. Our game is going to be Name That Tune. We have to get the best out of 10, and you can't use any lyrics. So let's get it on.
Da 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 da.
Pass.
In excess, need you tonight. Pass. Pass.
Ba da 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 da. Wah, 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 wah.
Gee, what is the name of that song? You switching songs on me?
Okay, next one. Oh, that's not a good one. That song is terrible. Let's see.
Oh! I see a red door and I want to paint it black. Rolling Stones, keep going. One there.
Let's see. I've never heard of that song before. I've never heard of that song. How can I sing something I don't? Okay. I'm just making that one up. Okay, here we go. We already won. I know. I got it. We got one. Let's see. Oh.
Give me some drums, a guitar, bass. Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes. No, it's not.
What can I say? What can I say? I should have gotten Ticket to Ride. I don't know how you pulled out with Painted Black with the Rolling Stones, but it looks like, well, gee, looked like he won by one. I did better than last time, Anthony. But anyway, here is your parting gift, Vivian.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And since Johnny won, you have the honors of getting her with a silly string.
Silly string. No one told me what am I supposed to spray her with silly
Yeah.
string? Well, you tried pretty hard. You gave it your best shot. But, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Whoa. Take that. There.
Okay.
I won. You lost.
Well, you know what? It's time for revenge, and I demand a rematch.
Wow.
Rematch.
Why I can't win these things, man? Why I can't win them? I need to win one of these games.
Okay, let me have a sip.
He's the performance artist, so he's getting.
We'll be right back.
Derek, before we get out of here, you want to say one more thing about album covers?
Oh yes. Just like Johnny said, he's a favorite Beatle fan. I mean, they had the greatest album covers, like Abbey Road and Sgt. Pepper. I can't forget Revolver. That was a very iconic album cover.
Right.
Very beautiful.
Right. And we want to thank our guest, Johnny Neptune, and our
Vivian.
contestant, Miss Vivian Hallmark. Go see her at the Making Arts Alliance on every Saturday. And
Thank you for our sponsors.
thanks our sponsors. Thank you very much. Without
Check
you,
out
we
our
couldn't do it.
Facebook.
And if you're interested in sponsoring the show, hit us up. Hit the email addresses at the end of the show. And
And check out our Facebook page.
and tell us what you think of our topic. Give us feedback. It helps. We need it. And once again, when you want to fight aliens, this is your secret weapon.
Thank you, and support the arts.